Agentic AI is coming for healthcare. Be prepared or be left behind. If you are new to this channel, my name is Theo Harvey, and I'm the CEO of SensorMed, the AI-powered remote care as a service platform for healthcare organizations. I consult with hundreds of medical professionals every year to guide them on best practices and implementing AI solutions and workflows in their current operations. I've worked with large organizations like Cisco Systems, AT&T, the Charles Barkley Organization, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Google. And my mission is to help healthcare professionals prepare for the new normal in healthcare before it's too late. Agentic AI is the buzzword I've been here over the last couple of months here in 2026. And it's amazing to see what's happening so far and so fast. So in this video, I'm going to talk about three things. First, I'm going to talk about what is Agentic AI, especially when it comes to healthcare. Number two, we're going to talk about all the reasons why Agentic AI is important in healthcare and how people are using it. And number three, I'm going to talk about how we are using Agentic AI in our organization, which is a health tech company that focuses on remote care as a service programs. And so we'll get into all that on this video. So stick around and I'm going to give you a couple secrets that no one's even thinking about right now. First of all, what is Agentic AI? Well, basically think of it as more advanced automation. What is automation? Think about workflows, consistent workflows you do all the time. At healthcare, you have a ton of them, right? How you process the patient, how you see the patient, making sure you have a checklist of all the things you have to do before the patient leaves the hospital. That's very similar to what automation is all about, right? When it comes to software, being able to deliver at scale all the different things you do so you don't leave anything behind. Many of you know during surgery, sometimes the doctor will mark an X on a leg they don't want to operate on. Simple things like that is part of a workflow. And automation makes that easier in software where there's certain things that you do all the time. And it's really important to make sure they incorporate in your day-to-day tasks. Agentic AI is the next level of that. Think of kind of a small, sharp intern that is doing all this work and think of them kind of automating it. So yes, they can be automated, but also involve some thinking, like how do you say certain things? And it can adjust on the fly given certain parameters. So think of it as a more advanced automation that can improve over time. Why is this so important now, right? So are we beyond just the copy and paste prompt structure of AI? I would say yes. And that happened because of a simple thing called OpenClaw that got released last December, and it just blew up. You don't know what OpenClaw is or was. It basically is a agentic agent that a lot of developers got on, created their own agents in small little computers that are able to do all the different things for them. Simple things like, answering emails for them, responding to emails, buying different things from different organizations automatically based on the user's preferences. So OpenClaw really exploded the last couple of months because all these different tools were being created and they were opening it up to the internet, and it just everywhere on Twitter and everyone was starting to use it. And that was just general use. It got so crazy that the developer of OpenClaw got bought out by OpenAI. And so this goes to show you that this agentic workflow really became more powerful. And I think reason why is because people began to realize that AI is great to kind of do different things and brainstorming and kind of getting some responses, but there's a lot of copy and paste. And people realize, you know what? I want the AI to do stuff for me. I don't want to just get brainstorm ideas or test out things because I still have to do the work. And that saves you time. I get that. But if it can actually answer my emails for me, right? If it can actually buy things that I'm going to buy anyway because it knows my preferences, these are the things that people started to realize that this is what they want AI for. So now all the rage in the last couple months in marketing has been toward agentic AI. One of the low-hanging fruits for AI in general was the ability to automate prior authorizations, medical billing, revenue cycle management. Why? Because it's really a lot of forms and checklists. So automation of that is kind of standard. But with agentic AI, now you have agents that can do the billing for you automatically, help with denials, but also the insurers on their side are having ways to deny claims faster, right? Because it's just a process of understanding language. And that's really what these large language models are really good at, understanding language at a level that we never had before. So now that was a low-hanging fruit, right? Basically, administrative tasks around medical billing, revenue cycle management, some patient communication channels, being able to reach out to them. Those were the areas that a lot of organizations really went down the path of because it was low-hanging fruit. And you see a lot of startups in this space, right? Just kind of like making agents around workflows that already existed, that were kind of already automated, has just kind of made it easy. The second area in healthcare we saw AI being used is in clinical documentation, right? So basically charting. You heard of these ambient AI tools. I've talked about it before in this channel, the way for the doctor to get away from the bedside charting, staying up late at night to chart hours and hours on end. Matter of fact, if you watch the show The Pit, you may have saw the last season, there was an area where they had all these charts they couldn't get access to because everything went analog because there was a cyber attack. So at the end of the couple of hours that we're watching the show, last 3 episodes, they showed all the medical students and interns starting to chart using these tools to communicate all the cases they saw throughout the day. And so that was the issue, right? Back in the day, you had to type all that in and you had to communicate. But with these ambient listening tools, that can be automated. Likewise, that's another low-hanging fruit, being able to automate this process with AI and agentic AI specifically. Then the last area we're seeing it, and this is more advanced, is clinical diagnosis and drug support. So what does that mean? Right now, there is a pilot in Utah that is being used to actually get patient information, see what the requests are, diagnose them, and then send them a prescription drug. That's correct. Yes, AI doctor is here. And this is crazy because I want to get into the specifics of it, but they actually got approval around the medical board there in Utah. So the issue has become now people are trying to see if AI can, in essence, increase access, which is a good thing, but it can be a bad thing if this AI doc that's prescribing medicine makes errors, right? And there are some cases where the system was hacked a little bit. So is that where healthcare is going, to this more agentic AI doctor that's diagnosing patients all over the world and all over the country? Look, scary times, I get it, but this is the future and we have to be prepared for it. So these are the things that people are struggling with right now, figuring out how to kind of get AI there. And I would tell you this is something no one else is talking about. The reason why AI is exploding in healthcare right now, because we're just in a relaxed area of regulation when it comes to delivering these tools. Think about it. We're in an administration that sees AI as a competitive advantage in the world. So we're going to take off the brakes. And so we're seeing a lot of innovation, a lot of fast, a lot of money and financial dollars going to AI right now. So you're seeing a lot of things. I do believe, and this is no one's talking about this, but if there is a major disaster, we're going to see those brakes get pushed back on. So you have to be prepared for that. And what does that look like? Also, other thing no one is really talking about is the cost factor of running these AI agents. One of the things that we're seeing is token costing is increasing fourfold. You didn't see it recently. Claude, Anthropic, just released another version of Claude 4.7 Opus, and they moved away from set pricing to usage-based pricing. That means you're going to get charged for how much you use it, as opposed to, hey, this is what you get charged so often. Try this little experiment. Try to ask Claude or ChatGPT or any of your requests, how many tokens does it take to deliver that? I guarantee they're not going to give you an accurate answer, or it's going to be kind of fuzzy to understand exactly what's that costing you to deliver that at scale, because they don't want you to know. Because if you found out how much it's actually costing you over time with token spend or usage spending, then you'll find out that it's not going to be sustainable long term to deliver these high workloads of AI agents. Classic story, right? Get people started, hooked on the first taste test, which was AI and the chat bots and all the different things you can do with it, so they get used to it in their workflows and it's embedded. And guess what? Now the pricing is going to go up. So be forewarned. Whatever you develop, make sure you understand the economics, the token spending, the understanding of the usage patterns, because if you don't, you could find yourself spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on an AI agent that's supposed to help you save $50,000. Before I get into that, if you allow me to take a moment to provide you with a brief public service announcement. We know it's about 84% of you watch our videos but are not subscribers yet. If you can do me a big favor and take the time to subscribe, as that will help the algorithm reach more people like you. As healthcare is rapidly evolving and changing, we all need content like this to adjust to the new normal. Now back to the video. Last but not least, how are we here at SensorMed thinking about AI agents? Well, look, we've actually built an AI agent. We call it Simon, and it is our AI agent to help with patient engagement. Reason why we went that route, because in our opinion, we need a human in the loop, in this case, a doctor. And a doctor in the loop is really more important to us than having a doctor in the box, because humans trust humans, especially when it comes to healthcare. If you're talking to a robot about your healthcare, you don't trust it, you don't understand it, and you feel like it's giving you a numbers and you're not going to do what it tells you to do. Because ultimately, healthcare is about compliance. They just have to take the medicine. They still have to do the exercise, because that's going to lower the cost of healthcare. But if you have a human to human communicating with you, there's a chance that there's trust viewed, because the doctor can give their experiences as a human or what they would do. 9 times out of 10, I guarantee patients are always asking, doctor, if you were in my case, what would you do? I guarantee the AI even ask that, the patient is not going to tell them. And even if the AI can simulate some kind of human sounding emotion over time, they're still going going to be that uncanny valley. This is a term that means there's not going to be that soul connection that people think there is with a human being. So we'll see. The early days, they may try to create a soul for AI. I just don't think they can. So the way we're thinking about it is we're actually have a solution that is gamifying the way patients engage with their own healthcare. We call it Simon. And Simon's whole goal is to ensure that patient does their medications, show them a time schedule for their appointments, takes their water, watch their diet, their exercise, all the things, and it put into a nice game where they could get points for streaks. They get points as they move up leaderboards. They get different status tiers. All these are enabling to have more exciting presence about taking care of their healthcare. Yes, healthcare alone and doing it is important, but if you have an incentive, that's always great. That's economics 101. And likewise, having an incentive for the patients to get to the higher tiers to get points, and those points can be used for actual rewards or just kudos when they come into the office to see the doctor. That's it. So if you want to learn more about Simon, check out the link below, schedule time with our team, and we can kind of walk you through all the wonderful things that our Simon AI agent can do for your organization. So in conclusion, we talked about agentic AI in healthcare. We talked about what it is, why is it important now, especially with OpenClaw and what that means for the future of AI. Next, we talked about how people are using agentic AI in the organizations. We talked about AI workflows for revenue cycle management. We talked about agentic AI that's doing ambient listening to understand how the doctor is talking to the patient, so it makes charting a lot easier. And then finally, we talked about how we're implementing AI in our organization here at SensorMed. And to us, a doctor in the loop, more important than a doctor in the box. So if you like what I said, please like, subscribe, but more importantly, share this with others, because ultimately we're all in this together as we learn the new normal of healthcare.